Do you guys know what sleep hygiene is? Because arriving on your bed from the behaviors that you've gone through earlier in the evening will determine whether you have a good night's sleep or not. So sleep hygiene basically just refers to being mindful of the things that you do during the day that either lead to a good or a bad night's sleep. So starting at the beginning of the day, did you know that there are sensors in your eyes that pick up the wavelength of light between sunrise and an hour afterwards that is different from the rays of light later on? And if you manage to pick up those rays, they will trigger into your circadian rhythm system that in 11 hours time, melatonin needs to start being produced so that when it's time for bed, that melatonin knocks you out. And then the same in the evening, if you're outdoors at sunset, that particular wavelength that happens at sunset, which would have happened naturally when we were cave people, doesn't happen naturally anymore. Go in and trigger the release of serotonins and cortisol to wake us up in the morning, 11 hours later. So if you know that, then try and get those early morning rays and the evening rays. The other thing, journaling and meditation. Like I said before, if you've got those ruminating thoughts and they're keeping you awake, one of the best ways to neutralize them is just to write them all down before you go to bed. But to write them out on paper, because then the brain can relax knowing that you're not going to forget it. It's worried you're going to forget this thing. So just write it all out, get it out on the thing. The other thing is obviously what you eat, right? So caffeine. Caffeine has a 12-hour half-life. So if you have your last caffeine drink at 12 o'clock, your brain is still reacting from that caffeine at 12 o'clock that night. So you may be asleep, but you're not sleeping in a perfectly rested state. And you want your brain to be able to get to that deep sleep. So you've got the light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. During your deep sleep, your brain is detoxing. So during the day when our brains use up an enormous amount of energy because we're human and produce an enormous amount of metabolites as an offshoot, and those metabolites need to be sifted out of the brain and detoxed during that deep sleep. If you're not getting enough deep sleep and that's not happening, then over time they accumulate, and one of the first signs is brain fog. Then the other thing obviously is screens. Okay, so you know that they've shown that the flickering light, some people are saying it's the blue light, some people are saying it's any flickering light. I don't think they've established categorically, but we do know that screens with those flashing lights will keep your brain active way into your night. So the earlier you can stop the screen, the better. So if you can, like in our household, we try and aim for 8 o'clock, all screens are off. And then after that, it's just sort of books, paper books, or listening or talking, rather than having that constant flashing light in your eyes. And it makes a significant difference to the quality of your sleep. The other thing is REM sleep is about saving your thoughts, like your memory, consolidation of memory. So if you've been learning anything or studying anything, you need that REM sleep to consolidate those thoughts. So think about school kids. So many school kids aren't getting enough sleep, and they're not, like they're supposed to be learning as much as they can. Firstly, they're often in fight and flight during their classes, so they're not able to absorb information, and then they're not getting a good night's sleep, so they're not able to consolidate that information. That's a problem. Also, during your REM sleep, you are processing your daily sort of stresses and traumas or whatever's happening to you. So you need that to kind of be able to build your nervous system so that it becomes more robust, like we were talking about this morning, so that you can increase your bandwidth and not be too snappy, quick to snap at people. And then obviously breath work for sleep is priceless, because if you can do a little bit of breath work before you go to bed, that calms your body, makes sure that you're in that rest and repair state, so that when you sleep, you're getting a good night's sleep. The other thing I wanted to say about, so this sort of approach this sort of approach to stress and burnout is what you can do beyond diet and exercise. Okay, if you're living a stressed out life, an unhealthy life, and you're burning out, the first things you need to address is diet and exercise and sleep. You need to get those ducks in a row, and then this is on top of that, sorting out, learning about your nervous system and sorting out your mind-body connection is the next layer.